Hey guys, what's up? What are you talking about? Uh, Slavery in the Bible? Funny enough, I just saw some guy defending it. John Bergsma. Oh, fuck. Now I want Wendy's. Much better. Okay. I'm going to start off with a disclaimer here before some dipshit says anything stupid. I do not support slavery. There, done. Now we can get into this. My subject today is John Bergsma, a professor of theology at the Franciscan University of Steubenville, Ohio. Some small town near West Virginia's erection. But he's some kind of a big deal, I guess. So I have brought him on to talk about the Bible, giving the Israelites the go-ahead to enslave others. Anyway, for this sensitive topic, we're going to start out with a few definitions. First, the Israelites. The Israelites are God's chosen, the believers in Yahweh, the followers of the Abrahamic God of... Or more literally, the members of the 12 tribes of Israel. The Hebrews, on the other hand, are the descendants of Abraham. These are the Jewish people. So again, followers of Yahweh, God of... There are, and I'll use this term loosely, neighbors that came to live with the Israelites that are kind of considered protected, as these are the people that have converted to the worship of the Yahweh God of... Is that going to happen every time? Then there is everyone else in other countries that are not Israelites, Hebrews, or neighbors. I am getting these definitions from several different theologians I researched in making this video. It's important to the rest of this. Without these definitions, things are going to get very confusing, as if the Bible isn't confusing enough as it is. Okay, so, does the Bible condone slavery? Well, yes, of course it does.
Actually not. I wrote my dissertation on the Jubilee laws, which are the laws of freedom.
Why the hell do all these theists insist on butting in when I haven't called on them to speak?
Under Moses, true slavery is outlawed for Israelites.
So rude. So no, you're wrong. You're talking about the indentured servitude in the Bible. I was talking about slavery, like bought and sold a bitch slavery. And you're teaching? Huh. Well, explains why it's a small town school. But this seems to be like a good a time as any to talk about indentured servitude. This way we can bring up what the hell it is before getting into the meat of this thing. So the Bible makes a clear distinction between true slavery and indentured servitude in Leviticus 25 verses 42 and 43. Helper lady?
Because the Israelites are my servants, whom I brought out of Egypt, they must not be sold as slaves. Do not rule over them ruthlessly, but fear your God.
So Israelites are treated differently by God when it comes to slavery. However, it does allow sort of slavery in the voluntary sense. We'll go a bit earlier in Leviticus and explain earlier in the same paragraph, verses 39 to 41, just to stay consistent.
If any of your fellow Israelites become poor and sell themselves to you, do not make them work as slaves. They are to be treated as hired workers or temporary residents among you. They are to work for you until the year of Jubilee. Then they and their children are to be released, and they will go back to their own clans and to the property of their ancestors.
And to make it a bit short, the Jubilee year occurs every 49 years, so generally once or twice in a person's lifetime. Israelites that sold themselves off as workers were to be released in that year no matter what. Now, imagine 5 to 10 years after that Jubilee year having to sell yourself off. You could be stuck like that for 40 years. But there are other benefits they had. Israelites were not to tax one another or even profit from one another. Food sold at cost, loans having no interest. But if you owed too much money and you couldn't pay off, you sold off your work to pay the debts off until the Jubilee year. So when Captain Big Mac over here said slavery was outlawed, he isn't talking about the enslavement of people outside of the Israelites. He's talking about enslaving each other. At least that's what actual passages are talking about.
You can indenture a fellow Israelite if he owes you money.
See? But the question was not about chattel slavery. It's talking about owning other people. Is slavery, not indentured servitude, slavery condoned in the Bible?
Now, the other people surrounding the people of Israel could be enslaved, but only temporarily. And this is what you find, for example, in Deuteronomy 15.
Wait, hold up. No, you're wrong. That's incorrect. That passage is talking about the Hebrews and others that came to live with the Israelites. This isn't talking about the people outside the Israelites and the people outside the worshipers of the Yahweh God of... No, the people God is talking about in Deuteronomy 15 is specifically talking about those that worship his ass. Well, yeah. I think there was a commandment somewhere. Maybe not in the current Bible, but it's in a lost book. I think it was somewhere in the book of Second Opinions, chapter 6, that read,
"Thou shalt not fuck with the hand that prays to you."
And that one sounded like it came from God himself. And to show this is a different kind of slavery from the ones he's actually getting asked about, we can go to the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verses 2 to 6. This one's going to take a few seconds.
If you buy a Hebrew servant, he is to serve you for 6 years. But in the 7th year, he shall go free, without paying anything. If he comes alone, he is to go free alone. But if he has a wife when he comes, she is to go with him. If his master gives him a wife and she bears him sons or daughters, the woman and her children shall belong to her master. And only the man shall go free. But if the servant declares, I love my master and my wife and children and do not want to go free, then his master must take him before the judges. He shall take him to the door or the doorpost and pierce his ear with an awl. Then he will be his servant for life.
So yeah, they can go free unless... Wait a second. If his master gives him a wife and she has kids, the master keeps the wife and kids as slaves? So their kids are born into slavery? Hold up a second. Wait. Wouldn't the women be let go already? Where do these women come from if everyone is temporary? And for that matter, how fucked up is it that a guy that bought this slave can just say, here, fuck this girl, she's your wife now, yeah, go on, have babies and everything. Oh, looks like your 7 years is up. Get out, but your wife stays with me. God is cool with this shit? This is where we're getting into the fun stuff. How to keep the Hebrews as slaves for life. Bribe them with pussy, then threaten to take that pussy away. Why the hell was this in the law? Actually, what else is in the law? If a man sells his daughter as a servant, she is not to go free as male servants do? Well, fuck, there's the whole wife thing. Looks like the Bible is not only fine with slavery for life, but it's for the women and not the men. How sexist of them. Oh, and look at that. Same book, verses 20 and 21. Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property. Since the slave is their property. And hold up, this is still talking about the Hebrews. These are for the worshippers of Yahweh, God of... Oh boy, okay then. How about actual slavery? Leviticus seemed to be a good source, so let's get to the bottom of all of this.
Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clans born in your country, and they will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and can make them slaves for life, but you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly.
Well, that's it then. Slaves for life.
It's not good.
I completely agree. But here's the thing. When I hear Christians defend the Bible on slavery, they tend to just bring up the indentured servitude like Burger Time here. What? Bergsma? Who's that? Oh, sorry. Like Bergsma here. Literally, I listened to the entire rest of his Q&A on this topic, and at no time did he mention places in the Bible like Deuteronomy chapter 20, verses 10 to 15.
When you march up to attack a city, make its people an offer of peace. If they accept and open their gates, all the people in it shall be subject to forced labor and shall work for you. If they refuse to make peace and they engage you in battle, lay siege to that city. When the Lord your God delivers it into your hand, put to the sword all the men in it. As for the women, the children, the livestock and everything else in the city, you may take these as plunder for yourselves. And you may use the plunder the Lord your God gives you from your enemies. This is how you are to treat all the cities that are at a distance from you and do not belong to the nations nearby.
Now, I've had many conversations and listened in on many others, just on the topic of slavery in the Bible. The usual defense is that God does not condone slavery, but puts up with it, and tries to dictate how they should handle it, instead to wean the Israelites off it. This passage is just straight up slavery and captivity. An offer of peace is met with the rounding up of every motherfucker in the city and enslaving them? And if they do not willingly allow themselves to be enslaved, enslave them by force and kill every male in the city.
Equal opportunity employer.
Oh, and if you thought it was back down to buying slaves from the nations around you and they get to go free after 6 years, God changes his mind here in verses 16 to 18 with this.
However, in the cities of the nations the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, do not leave alive anything that breathes. Completely destroy them, the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites and Jebusites, as the Lord your God has commanded you. Otherwise, they will teach you to follow all the detestable things they do in worshipping their gods. And you will sin against the Lord your God.
So in essence, Yahweh, the most loving, peaceful God of... wants his Israelites to cause mass extinction to the same cities you could buy slaves from. I suppose that's why you were supposed to send them back, right, Hamburglar? Bergsma. Sorry. Kept getting your name wrong. So what's your opinion, John?
The ancient world was brutal.
I totally agree. I am so glad we've been given such a strong sense of objective morality. Like Lord Yahweh, God of... For those that watch my videos looking for a bunch of jokes and silliness while learning, I apologize for not having a bunch more jokes in this one. Slavery is not a joke. And the absolute fact that slavery was condoned in the Bible is detestable. I think Non-Stamp Collector put it best.
Lord, what we see here pretty much describes the worst and most oppressive and inhumane forms of slavery the world will ever see.
Oh, but you're
It'll be the shame of many nations to have once participated in exactly what you're outlining.
Again, why are you trying to make me look bad?
We aren't making God look bad here. He's doing a great job of it on his own when it comes to the slavery thing. Anyone that says God disapproved of this slavery biblically should probably pick one up and read it once in a while. If this triggered you in any way, good. You should very much be triggered by what it says in the Bible. However, I will apologize to everyone listening if I've offended you in any way. My videos are meant to educate and share ideas, not to cause harm. Slavery in any form should be abolished, and those still enslaving others should be brought to justice. Someone with objective morality would have been more keen to put a stop to it early and leave just the indentured servitude.
Bonds of affection arose between masters and their servants.
I guess some people are into that. So, I am Corsi, and this is The Fluffy Atheist. If you like this, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Either way, share it with friends, no matter if you want to share a funny video or you want to point and laugh. I'm good either way.